Jimmy! Ricky! You! Smack Attack!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a late edition of the Smack Attack. I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, MS to the G, and we are live on Hummy Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, on channelattitude.com. After the fact, that is. Matt, what a week it's been for celebrity deaths, dude. I mean, they say it comes in threes, and boy, did it.
Yeah, not only did it come in threes, it came in fours. I mean, there was more people that died all in this week. It was crazy. Chuck Mangione, Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamal Warner. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. 2025 has been a crappy year, bro. Like, in terms of just deaths in general, man. And just, I don't know what's going on. There's already speculation. I hate to say this, Matt, but Illuminati got to him, bro, because, you know, he was New World Order and he was Hollywood, Hulk Hogan. I kid you not, bro. That's what's been going around right now. But nevertheless, man, it's a shocker because, you know, Hulk Hogan particularly, obviously he's passed away at 71 years old. And, man, it really came out of nowhere. And I hate to say it, but Bubba the Love Sponge was actually right all along.
Yeah, I guess he was promoting the fact that Hulk Hogan was sick and not doing the best. And as a result, there was maybe potentially complications from whatever hospital visits he had, and ultimately ended up leading to his demise.
Yeah, I mean, it's still shocking to me, bro. Like, you know, they used to call him the immortal Hulk Hogan. You'd think he'd always be immortal. But, you know, unfortunately, he did pass away. He did look kind of, I don't want to say sick, but he kind of did look sick, I guess, on his last interview that he ever had. What I found weird is that his family members and friends were all coming out saying he's fine and there's nothing wrong with him and whatnot. But I feel like that's probably a PR thing. You know, Hogan's team probably told all them to not sell it. And I assume that's why they were saying that. But Bubba the Love Sponge was, you know, calling him out, calling all them out for lying. Were they lying? Did they know? Because I'm hearing rumors that he was in hospice at his house. He already knew he was going to pass away. So he went home to pass away. But then, you know, if he died from cardiac arrest, then I don't know. I don't know what to think. But there's all sorts of weird shit going on when it comes to his death anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like to me that maybe it was Terry Bollea's wishes that he didn't want people to know that he was sick and that he was dying.
Right.
That, you know, he wanted to keep that private as possible, you know, in hopes that maybe he would overcome whatever was happening to him at the end.
Yeah, man, it's strange, no doubt about it. Look, it's no secret. I was a Hulkamania growing up. You can call him racist, you can call him all this and that, whatever. I get it. I get if people hate his guts. I totally understand that, right? But separate the man, Terry Bollea, and Hulk Hogan. They're two different things, man. What he said was absolutely fucked up, but you got to understand the context of him saying it. I don't understand how others... Are you telling me everyone has said stupid shit in their time? It's right to forgive others, you know what I mean? But you can't, you know, forgive the Hulkster, brother.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a Hulkamaniac. I was never a Hulkamaniac. By the time I started watching wrestling, Hulk Hogan was joining the NWO and WCW. So I never said my prayers, ate my vitamins, or whatever his catchphrase was.
The way you said it too. I never said my prayers, damn it. Yeah,
Never
well,
said my
neither did I,
prayers
to
and
be
ate my
fair.
vitamins.
I wonder what vitamins he was alluding to.
So, like, to me, by the time I was cognizant of who Hulk Hogan was, he had already gone through his whole era of popularity. I'm not
Right.
saying he wasn't popular in the 90s as well. And I'm not saying he hasn't been well known for the last 30 years in that regard, too. But as far as the height of Hulk Hogan, the height of Hulkamania, you know, I wasn't even alive for that. By the time WrestleMania 1 started, I was just being born. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, to me, I don't have any real attachment to Hulk Hogan like that. Do I respect what he's done for the professional wrestling industry? Of course. I mean, you'd have to be naive to say that without Hulk Hogan, there wouldn't be pro wrestling to where it is now. Of course, that's the absolute truth. Hulk Hogan was a huge factor in that. But
no doubt.
but I'm not personally affected by it like how other people are. Other people I've seen, especially on Hami Media Group, are very affected by it, and they're really sad over the fact that Hulk Hogan passed away. Which that's where I'm more sad about. I'm more sad that people who are close to me, or just people who are friends and family, or just people who are part of the Hami Media Group are sad. Like, I'm more sad that you guys are upset, but I'm not sad or upset over the fact that he's gone.
Yeah, see, I've wanted to write a piece even about it, but I just, I feel like, for me, it just hasn't really sunk in properly. But make no mistake about it, in my opinion, man, he's the biggest name in pro wrestling history. People argue and say Stone Cold or The Rock, but for me, Hogan made professional wrestling what it is today. And yeah, absolutely, Prof, by the way, he says, I lived through Hulkamania in the AWA, and that's where he started and really began. That's when he became like a pretty big star at one point, man. And unfortunately, Vern Gagne didn't pull the trigger and gave him the AWA belt, even though he was going for it. And then he done the runner to Vince McMahon and WWF at the time, and the rest is history. But he was a big star in AWA, absolutely. He was a star everywhere he went. For me, he was not only the biggest babyface in professional wrestling history, but also the biggest heel in professional wrestling history. And, you fast forward to the 90s, obviously when he jumped to WCW in 94, the Hulkamania thing was truly done and dusted when he first jumped, in my opinion, at that point. But once he became Hollywood Hogan, he reinvented himself and reinvented the whole wheel in terms of professional wrestling. Because, again, if it wasn't for the NWO and that third man, per se, I don't know if wrestling would be where it's at today, even.
I mean, that's a valid point, and to Prof's point as well, he lived through it. Like, again, I didn't live through it like that. So the only thing I lived through was Hulk Hogan in the NWO, right? When I was an adolescent, as far as flipping channels back and forth between WCW and WWF at the time. So
absolutely, dude.
That's for me where I saw Hulk Hogan, and as well as Thunder Lips and Rocky 3. I grew up a big Rocky fan, watching all those movies with my dad. So, like, that was another piece of media that I knew Hulk Hogan was from that movie. But in that movie, he was the bad guy, too. So, like, for me, Hulk Hogan was always, for the most part, the bad guy to me in my life. It wasn't until, when he fought The Rock, he was the heel, right? So, like, to me, he's always been more on the heel side. I didn't get the whole babyface Hogan run because I wasn't alive for it.
Right, yeah. For me, I followed him over to WCW. Obviously, even when he became Hollywood Hogan, I was NWO for life, man. But T. and Cooper says, Hogan made my childhood better and made my high school days just too sweet. Absolutely, man. That was the good old days too, man. Prof says, Hogan is a true catalyst for wrestling ascending to mainstream in 2 decades. 80s rock and wrestling and 90s Monday Night Wars. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, and I won't argue with like what he's done for the business. Like, I'm not here to shit on all his accolades. My only point is I just don't have that affinity like Tion Couponer, who writes, started watching wrestling in 1985, big Hulkamaniac. It taught me that you can overcome anything. See, like I never went through that experience.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's understandable, man. I mean, you don't have to. Obviously, not everyone. There's a lot of our listeners, as a matter of fact, that absolutely hated Hogan. And then Zane seeing Hogan in AWA is crazy. It is crazy. But he was a huge deal there too, man. And that's where the real, climb of Hulkamania really started, from the AWA onto WWE and then onto WCW.
Well, that's because Vince McMahon Sr. wouldn't let him do Rocky 3. So he left.
That's right, yep. Spot
he left
on.
to go do Rocky 3, and then he went back to the AWA, and then that's when Hulkamania started to take shape. And then, of course, Vince McMahon Jr., Vince McMahon himself, eventually brings Hulk Hogan back in. I did live through the Hulk tape scandal. You are correct.
You're a character, Prof. Man, that's too good. But anyway, look, man, it's an end of an era, that's for sure. Pro wrestling will never be the same again without him. I do find it a little disappointing, especially AEW have not acknowledged his death at all.
Well, I mean, why would they?
But it's who he is in terms of professional wrestling, though. It doesn't matter that he's never done anything in AEW, or the fact that AEW have banned him for life because of what he said, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Right. But
it's because they didn't like the commentary Hulk Hogan said behind closed doors 10 years ago. But
to me, that's so petty, man, because how do you not acknowledge something? See, they're being total hypocrites to me. So
how are they being hypocrites? They're saying that they didn't say, before you get into it, they don't like Hulk Hogan. They've been against Hulk Hogan. So why would it be hypocritical for them to not mention him? I mean,
because if you want to play that game, and I'm talking about them, Tony Khan, then what about Ric Flair having him on their television shows? What about Sabu, for example, and God rest his soul too? All I'm saying is, so it's all good. You can pick and choose, but Hogan's never done anything really, really controversial in terms of, being a drug addict or friggin' like any of that shit.
Well, he did steroids. I mean, he did steroids.
Or everyone did steroids in the 80s.
I'm just saying, you can't say someone isn't a drug addict if they're doing drugs, right?
Well, then the whole professional wrestling business were drug addicts in his time. You know what I mean?
I'm not disputing that.
Well, the point is, I don't understand how they can pick and choose. You know what I mean? So screw Hogan, but we're cool with Flair. We're cool with Sabu. I'm sure there's others that I can't think of on the top of my head. But you know what? WWE have always hired wrestlers with criminal backgrounds anyway, and pretty severe criminal backgrounds. I'm talking about like MVP, Booker T.
But those guys those guys did their time. They served their prison sentence.
Yeah, exactly, Prof. Thank you, bro. That is perfectly put. Tony Khan has the luxury to pick and choose, just like honoring Owen Hart tournament, and he was never there. That's another thing, bro. Owen was never there, but heck, they got an Owen Hart freaking cup, right?
Right. Well, that's because he's developed a relationship with Martha, and Martha wants nothing to do with the WWE because she blames the death on them. Which I mean, in her own way, she has that right to feel that way, right?
Absolutely. I'm not judging her for that, but again, that's why I find him a hypocrite. But anyway, Yosa says Tony is a smart mark. He's liberal Jimmy T. That's big in USA. He's a Trump guy. He's not a Trump guy. No way.
Hulk Hogan? No, he's talking about Hogan.
Is a Trump guy.
That's what I'm saying. He's a Hogan. Yeah. He's like, Tony's a mark. He's a liberal, and Hogan's a Trump guy.
Okay. Well, yeah. In that case, you're totally right. Absolutely, man. And you're right. It is what it is. Zane says Flair is Flair and Sabu, and Hogan's Hogan. You know what I mean? But
I mean, anyway. Who's to say they won't do something? We have to take into consideration the Dynamite was on Wednesday. What Collision is tonight,
right?
So they could do something.
Not one person on Twitter, except for the Bucks, actually, believe it or not, which is funny enough, has actually tweeted out anything about RIP Hogan or anything like that. We'll see what happens on Collision, but I don't know, man. That leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth for me. But anyway, it is what it is. RIP to him. we'll get more in depth to it during the week. I think we've got a show planned where we're going to actually honor Hulk Hogan properly. And, when we do, make sure to tune into that because that'll be a great show. But, oh, yeah, and Sting, of course. Right, thank you, Prof. It was officially Buck, Sting, and Cope on Twitter have mentioned Hogan, and that's it, as far as we know so far. So, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. What sucks even more before we move on, though, I can't believe his daughter, man. Like, unfortunately, he never got to meet his grandkids. Whatever petty bullshit they were going through, that's their problem. But I find it sad that, she wasn't even there when he passed away and whatnot, or the fact that I don't even know if she's going to turn up to the funeral. Heck, you know what I mean? I just find that kind of just sad, bro.
It is sad. I mean, it's sad when families have blow-ups like that, where one member of the family doesn't want to speak to another member. I mean,
Right.
I'm kind of going through that right now, not where the family member is speaking to me, but that family member itself is not speaking to somebody else.
Right.
And I talk to that other family member, and that family member is hurt by it. They're like, I want this person in my life, but they're completely shut me out. Right. So
That sucks, bro.
and it sucks because it sucks for me too, because like I want to say something, but I don't want that person to now shut me out. So I'm caught between a rock and a hard place of trying to play mediator almost, like, well, this is what one person thinks and this is what the other person thinks. And if they would just talk to each other, they could mend the fence, but one person is choosing to not, I hope that in the end, they will come back together and they will mend any personal, skirmishes that they had.
Well, Yosef says his daughter was abused by Hogan, Jimmy T allegations. Yeah, I don't buy that, bro. But she was alluding to it to her mother actually being more abusive. And look, we've all got issues with family. So do I. I don't talk to half my family, straight up. You know what I mean? And like Yosef says, I have issues with my family. I don't talk to my dad or mom because of abuse and don't want to admit it. And they always put me down. I can relate to that, man. And I'm not talking about physical abuse, but mental abuse. I've gone through that all my life, man. And I can totally understand where you're coming from. And it sucks, man. But always keep your head up, bro, because don't let that get to you. I know it hurts. It hurts all of us, obviously, going through all that shit, man. But you just got to soldier on, man, unfortunately. There's times I didn't even see my parents for how long.
Thanks, T Couponer. I appreciate it. No, and I agree. I have a good relationship with my parents. So if I'm in a situation where I can call them whenever I want, like I could end this podcast right now and call my dad and he'd sit there on the phone an hours with me and talk to me if I wanted. So I have a good relationship. But yeah, I mean, there are other people in my family that are choosing to not have, conversations with each other anymore. And they were at one point. They were each other's. One person was, considered to be their rock, the person they could go to, and now they're not. So, and for me, I'm like, well, I want both these people in my life. I want everybody in my life. I want all my family members in my life. So, like, I have to walk on eggshells with one person to a sense to where I don't want to make them feel like I'm choosing sides or something like that. Where really, I'm just kind of like, no, can we just have a conversation and move on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's sad, bro. Like I said, I don't even talk to my cousins anymore, and I used to be really close to them. You know what I mean?
It's
like
one thing
brothers.
if you just don't talk to a family member just because of, not by choice, let's say, but because of circumstance, right? I have got tons of cousins that I don't really have conversations with, but that's not because I don't love them or dislike them. It's just
Age
gap, or we grew apart, or, we're in different states. They didn't have the reason to reach out to me, and I haven't had a reason to reach out to them. That doesn't mean I don't like them or I have feelings for them, like, negatively, but that happens with family. This was the example I'm giving is where it was like, these members of each other, these family members were with each other from birth. You know what I mean? So it's like, or one was with each other from birth. So it's like now they're choosing to not have any relationship with that person. So it's hard.
It's fucked up, man. And like I said, we can all relate. Joseph wants to know why is Triple H so petty? Jimmy T MSG. Listen how he talks about WCW like Mark, Triple H, biggest mark ever. How he's locker room guy, pro. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, well, that's WWE and their pettiness towards WCW, bro. Unfortunately, even without Vince, they're always going to have that thing against WCW. It is what it is. I hate it too, man. But, you know, it is what it is. Zane says he doesn't talk to Frank because he's over. You're an idiot, Zane, seriously. But in a good way. But anyway, Yosef also says it's interesting how Punk is liberal, hated Hogan. Now he's talking good about him, but not during his life alive. These guys are marks. They're all hip, bro. They're wrestlers, man. They're all freaking. A lot of them are freaking full of shit. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying all of them, but you know, they're just human, man. We all say shit we don't mean, and then, or we do mean, and then fucking backtrack. I have no idea. Punk, though, in terms of coming back to WWE, if you've noticed, he's on that apologizing sort of tour, if you know what I mean. He has to suck everyone's dick in that company. Look what they've put him through. Him coming out as Cena, right? When you think about it, right? I feel like that's so them, you know, doing that. That wouldn't have been his idea. Him apologizing to the Saudis. I mean, shit. You know how he really feels, Matt. But him having to do that publicly like that, that's got to be such a blow to the ego, bro.
Maybe, but he's also getting paid millions of dollars, so
that's true too.
There is that.
That is very true. What up, Scotty?
Yeah, chat's starting to pop up with Scott. What's up, Scott? What's up, Artist Returns, Yosef, Zane, G Couponer, Prof. You're all here. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining us on a late edition of the Smack Attack.
Which is Jimmy T's fault, so you were right, Zane.
It's well, not exactly actually, man. But that's another story.
It was your fault. Yeah, I've been waiting all day.
Between you and I, sure, but anyway, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. All right, because I'm going to get in trouble if you know what I mean. But anyway, love your RPV, by the way. Let's get into SmackDown. Oh, look, there's really no other news. Is there any news to really talk about? Especially considering after the Hogan death. Is there really anything to touch on, man? I don't think so.
I don't know. That's been the talk of the conversation the last 24 to 48 hours was the passing of Hulk Hogan. I mean, you said you grew up as a Hulkamaniac. What made you a Hulk Hogan fan? I mean, that's something you can touch on.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to get bored of it. That's why I was trying to get past it pretty quick. Oh, cool. All right. Well, anyway, for me, that's how I got into pro wrestling, man. First of all, my grandfather was a big wrestling fan. My dad was somewhat, but not really. It was more my grandfather. And the first time I ever watched it, man, I saw Hogan. And I started watching it from WrestleMania 2. You know, King Kong Bundy, Hogan main event. Yeah, I started a little bit earlier than that, but WrestleMania 2 is what sticks out to me. And yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. He was just a larger than life character. You know what I mean? Like, and when you really think about it, it's kind of funny because look at him, right? Like, he's bald. He's like, he doesn't look any sort of, does he look sort of larger than life? He looked like larger than life later on, I felt like. But early on, he just looked like a big meathead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man, it's his charisma. Because the thing is, Hogan, when you're a child, he's so captivating, man. Like, I can't really put my finger on it, but if it wasn't for him, I would never be into pro wrestling probably, man. He legitimately is the reason why I got into pro wrestling in the first place. And it used to blow my mind seeing him, you know, transition to WCW and thinking to myself back then, and I was in high school back then, how he's still going. I mean, how old was he then? But he was still on top of his game, you know, very much so in the 90s. But yeah, man, like, that's the reason why I got into pro wrestling. He's the reason why I became a huge fan. Now I'm going to cherish my Hollywood Hogan autograph behind me that I got on my Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine back from 96, because there's no way I could ever get rid of that now. Not that I would have. But I was so shattered when he lost to Ultimate Warrior, for example, at WrestleMania 6, bro. When he lost to Warrior, and I was a Warrior guy too, I so hated that, man. But yeah, exactly, Dark Side. Thank you for joining us, by the way. He was in his 40s when he hit WCW. Dude, you want to know something crazy? When he wrestled The Rock at WrestleMania 18 in 2002, he was 48, while The Rock was 29. Can you believe that shit? That's 19-year age gap.
Yeah.
That's nuts. 48 years old, and he still looked phenomenal at that time, man. And yeah, exactly, artist, man. Hogan to wrestling was the Michael Jackson was to pop music. Make no mistake about it, and I truly mean this, and I'm not being biased. Hogan is one of those icons in the world, bro, in terms of celebrity, right? Like I put like Michael Jordan, for example, is one of those guys. Muhammad Ali is another one of those guys. And then you could put Hogan in that bracket, man. I'm sure there's a couple of others that I'm missing, but absolutely, Josh, Hogan is the Michael Jordan of professional wrestling. But not just that, you can go anywhere around the world, Matt, and you ask about Hulk Hogan. No shit, they will more than likely know who he is, man. You can go to Mongolia, you can go to friggin' Iraq, any of those obscure countries. I promise you, even if you were never a wrestling fan, you've heard of the name Hulk Hogan.
No, I'm not disputing that. Hulk Hogan definitely transcended professional wrestling, pop culture. He grew up in an era where, television and media was less than what it is now, right? The reach that it has. So he was able to get himself over on a global level. And because of that, his name carried him and his work carried him through the existence of his life. Even when he got done wrestling, Hulk Hogan still was able to stay in the mainstream with his Hogan Knows Best TV series, the whole Gawker thing, him suing to Real American Beer. Wasn't there like a Hogan Grill or something like that?
Across the road from MSG, it was about to open, called Slam.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been
active.
He's been very active since he joined the professional wrestling business. I mean, he straight up said he was going to be the best ever, and you can't argue with him from a professional wrestling standpoint from how much money that was made on the investment into Hulk Hogan. That he wasn't. That he was the best. So I mean, that cannot be disputed in any single way.
Well, here we go. Liz actually prof micro wrestling as well, exactly. Liz says Hulk Hogan was a character that transcended the man. However, the man, well, he was simply a narcissist who fed off the adulation of his fans.
That's a good point.
That is, I can't argue that, and I totally get you, Liz. But I'm not trying to stick up for the man. But I will say this: I've seen a lot of videos from just normal people that I've just come across that were crying over, obviously his death. But one particular guy was explaining how Hogan saved his daughter, right? And it's not just her; he's done it for numerous people. But he doesn't go around saying this, right? Because why should he, right? But people only want to see all the negatives that he's done. But the thing is, man, it's a touchy subject. And you know what, man?
It's complicated. It's a very complicated. It's a very complicated situation, because you have to
legally recorded too. You know what I'm saying?
You've got to separate between the man and the entertainer. And if we look at the grand scheme of things, did Hulk Hogan make mistakes and say some things that he shouldn't have said? Totally. Did he hurt a lot of people in that process? Of course. But you also have to ask yourself, how much stock are we going to put in the usage of words? Right?
Right.
So
Fuck yes. Thank you.
So do we look at it as from a standpoint that the words are worse than people's actions? You know what I mean? Because if he's just saying specific words that are offensive, then we have to hold everybody else accountable, like you already pointed out, from all the different individuals who committed crimes. Hulk Hogan wasn't committing crimes. He said some things in a private situation that was not supposed to be heard by other people, and a man who was frustrated over something that he was doing with his family members, with his daughter at the time. Was it the right thing to say? No, it's not something I would even say in private either.
Right.
But he chose to use those words, and as a result, he became a martyr to some people because they felt like that Hulk Hogan, the character, was saying that versus Terry Bollea, the man.
You know, I heard some interesting points about this argument. One, actually, African American guy said the best thing, man. Oops, there goes my vape. This one black guy said a particular thing that stood out in my mind, and you know, we've got a mix of different nationalities as our listeners, obviously, but you know, to the black side of our listeners, though, I want to know, like, especially you, Zane, Todd, and the artist that's in the chat right now, I want to know particularly, has it gotten to the point in society where black people can get away with saying certain things that if white people said, there's no way they can get away with it? Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like it's getting to that point. And this black dude that said it, man, he said this himself. I almost want to post the link. You guys should check it out because it was actually very, very well said. I can't give it justice. But he's basically saying white people, okay, Zane says yes, white people can't say shit anymore compared to black people. Black people can say shit and get away with it, whereas if a white person said the same thing, they're basically labeled as a racist.
Artist Return says, it's simple for me. Hogan was saying what we probably suspected he was saying behind closed doors and just got recorded. Does it change my opinion about him? Yeah, not to the point of cancellation.
See, thank you. You know what I mean? That's a fair judgment. Yosef says, yes, it's fact because liberals made it think only black people can say that, but rap music says the N-word. The N-word, I totally understand. Forget that part. I get that. You know what I mean? That's not my problem. It's just other things. You know what I mean? Not the N-word. Zane says black people ain't do shit. What do you mean by that? Like, do you mean like that in a positive way or negative way? Like, I don't know what he means exactly, but elaborate more, Zane. I need to know more. But that's basically what he was saying, man. And that was a black dude that said it, not a white dude. To hear a black dude say something like that is actually very interesting, man. But you know what's sad? You know what happened to him, right? A lot of black people started calling him a coon and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just why? Like, because that's his opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't put stock in one just because one person says something. You know, everyone's going to have their own views on the situation. Everyone has their own association with Hulk Hogan, the character, and everybody puts these characters and celebrities up on pedestals and they live vicariously through them, right? I personally have never been that way. Like, there may be one or two celebrities out there that if and when they pass, I'm going to probably feel sad about. But I will also move on with my day because I don't know them personally.
Well, that's it. I'm the same, dude. I don't understand how people can sit there and just sob over it. Yeah, there was a little sort of tear in my eye when I sort of realized it, because I was making sort of a video package that I'm going to upload to my own channel very shortly, and that's when it sort of hit me. But I'm not like, you know, who's he to me? He doesn't know who the fuck I am. I'm nothing to him. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, at the end of the day, I don't know who the fuck he is. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I mean, that's how I look at it. You know,
right,
I hope. I mean, the only people that are really affected by the passing of Hulk Hogan's death, realistically, are the people that were his friends and family, his direct friends and family. You know what I mean? That saw him on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, where they got to be around him. Those people I have sympathy for. And like I said, I do have sympathy for the people who are sad. Like, I don't want people to feel sad. That sucks. I don't want you or anyone else on HMG or any of our listeners to feel sad that Hulk Hogan passed away. That sucks. So I feel more upset for you guys. But like, but I also don't have a emotional attachment to where I'm gonna feel bad about Hulk Hogan passing. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I mean, it's just like, that's life. People die, unfortunately.
Well, that's it. We're all gonna fucking go. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You know what I mean? When it's our time, it's our time. But artist, comment of the fucking day, bro. I love what you said here. He says, "No, Jimmy, you can say it, but just be prepared for the fallout if it becomes public, because all ethnicities engage in that talk, so no one's exempt. A degree of emotional intelligence is needed. Abso-fucking-lutely, bro. And that's another thing. Everyone's guilty. I'm not saying everyone, right? But people talk shit behind closed doors, man. I just don't, you know what I mean? Everyone has said shit that you probably shouldn't say, right? But, you know, how dare you? Like, basically, that's what I mean. It's a whacked world we live in right now, man. Everything's back to front. I just don't understand. Yosef says, a black guy, a former NFL guy, said Hogan listened to rap. He also was called N-word all the time, and Hogan said, dude, I knew all that. Yeah, I know. I actually knew that, man. He even admitted that he grew up in a racial sort of time in Florida. I know he's from Georgia, but he grew up in Florida. But anyway, man, it is what it is. And Darkside Caster says, at the end of the day, he's human being just like the rest of us. I'm sure most of all of us here have said things we regret. We all screw up. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Fuck. You know, it is what it is. Did he just call black people stupid? Who you talking about, bro? Anyway, and one more thing with the artist, he says, in his family and friends period, if we all lived where our private conversations were made public, we wouldn't be casting. I know, man. That's what I mean. We've all said stupid shit, especially privately, but I don't know, man. It is what it is. He went to, yeah. Oh, really? He went to high school with my ex, Bill. My Bill said he was always a piece of shit. So, ooh. Is this in Georgia or Florida, Liz? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, well, I don't know what to say. I hear different things about him. If that's the case, you know, so be it. Darkside says, if Hogan murdered someone like another wrestler, I am not going to mention. I know who you're talking about. I can understand the hate for the guy, but he didn't. I know they're fucking words, man. Yeah, it was blown out of proportion, but I don't look at him like that he was always a racist. I look at it from the context. He's talking about his daughter, right? He felt like who she was seeing was a bum, and he made the context of it would have been better off if, you know, the black guy was like a total millionaire with a lot of money, like shit like that. And it just sounds wrong, but that was the context. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Words to you, Zane. Zane, you're fucking talking riddles, bro.
Look,
Stop
I mean,
talking
at
riddles.
the end of the day, as we all learn, you can be as wealthy as you want to be, you can be as well known as you want to be, but you can't take it with you in the end. It doesn't matter.
He's getting absolutely crucified, even in death, bro.
Well, I mean, he's also getting loved. So, I mean, that's
Right.
just the kind of polarizing figure he was.
Absolutely, man. Master, make him say, nah. Oh, okay. There's the clarity. Brother-in-law, the artist my dad was married for like 25 years before he went. Okay. Thank you for that information there, Liz. Anyway, it definitely leaves a hole in pro wrestling, and Hogan is a big talking point. Like I said, tune in this week. We'll be talking more in depth about Hogan. And to be fair, you know, wrestling will never be the same without him, man. Yossi says, people are soft, MSG. If this happened in 99, none of me soldiers saying N-word at WCW, Jimmy T. I know. What about Vince McMahon fucking saying it to no one bat an eyelid to that, right? Or what about when the Nation of Domination was in racial wars with DX, and that got pretty racial, but again, no one batted an eye to that shit. Like society today, we've lost ourselves, man. Somewhere, man. We've totally lost ourselves, and we need to get back in tune with each other. Like, I don't fucking judge no one. If I like you, I like you. I don't give a fuck what color you are. You know what I mean? Or what race, what nationality. Like, heck, as a Greek dude growing up in Australia, I went through friggin' racism by the white Australia. I'm serious. I really did. You know what I mean? The N word for us is called the W word for us, which is called WOG, right? And Australians, like white Australians, you know, Anglo Australians will use that term derogatory towards us. I used to get that, or go back to your own country, even though I was born in Australia. Like, hello, I'm born here, dick.
Yeah, I mean, there's derogatory terms for everything. That and it's all about if you let it affect you. Like, as a kid growing up in a melting pot of different races and religions, I didn't get mad if someone called me a cracker or a honky or something like that.
That's funny. I've never been called a cracker, but I find it funny anyway. You know what I
It
mean?
didn't bother me. I was just like, okay, well, you know, whatever. That's what you want to call me. Like,
Yeah, I know. They're just fucking words, man. They're just words. But yeah.
and there goes Jimmy T. He got taken down because he was apparently not directly agreeing with, well, the rest of the world. He got canceled just now. Was there a prior moment of oppression, MSG? I don't know. I've never had it. I've never felt oppressed. I always felt, you got taken down. You were done.
That was my fault. I accidentally clicked the side button on my mouse that
Bye,
took me
Jimmy.
back. Yeah, for a minute I thought, what the fuck? Can't even talk. Sorry, continue though. What were you saying, Matt?
Oh, I've never felt depressed. So like, it never bothered me. Like, and he's right. Like, I never had a situation. Well, the only time I've ever felt like I was in a situation where like I was the white guy and I shouldn't be there was when I was in this band and we were touring around and we got to Texas and the band was like, hey, we're going to have you go stay with one of our other friends because the area we're in, they don't like white people. And that was probably the only time I ever felt like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to other people when they feel like they're being oppressed, right? Like they feel like they're not wanted because of the color of their skin. So like it definitely gave me more insight into how people feel on a daily basis. I only had to feel that for a couple days, not seeing my band. They, you know, African Americans, Armenians, Mexicans, Koreans, Asians, Jewish people, they all have to feel that on a daily basis sometimes where they feel like they're being oppressed.
Through it. The Jewish people here are going through that shit right now, bro. Pretty bad. Where synagogues are getting firebombed and shit. That's what's going on in my neck of the woods right now.
Yeah. You know, I mean, the artist returns makes a good point. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and the subtle racism me and his sister's experience was notable, but we didn't understand it for what it was, and our parents tried to shelter us from it. So
I can relate to that. That's what I was going through. My next door neighbors, as a matter of fact, were savages, bro. Like,
yeah, and my parents
people.
just taught me to love everybody equally. Like, it didn't matter what they looked like, how they looked like. They just taught me to treat everyone with love and respect. And the motto was, is if you treat people with love and respect, then that's what you're going to get back. Now, that's not always true, but for the most part, it is. I mean, most of the people I treat with respect, I get the respect back. They may not even like me, but if I show you, you know, if I respect you, you're generally probably going to respect me back. At least not talk shit about me to my face.
Well, yeah, exactly. What I don't know doesn't hurt as far as I care. Like, if I don't hear it or see it, I couldn't give a fuck what you say, man. If you're going to talk shit behind my back, then, you know, you're just a fucking pussy. But to
wrap up this up, Hulk Hogan, you know, had a very polarizing life. So,
very polarizing. It's funny how it turned political, but it is what it is. I just don't want to point out one more thing. Scotty, did you say that Track was trying to cancel you? Don't you understand? You know Track by now, Scott. You just gotta see. I'm lucky that he likes me because I've said shit to him like going against the grain, where really he would eat me alive like he does with people. But because it was me, he's like, Jimmy, I'm not gonna fucking. I've got respect for you. I'm not gonna fucking go there. We had to talk about it and all that shit. Track is a troll too. All right, Scott, don't take him too seriously. Believe me when I tell you that. You know what I mean? He knows what he's doing, bro. I'm sure he's not going to hate your guts. But anyway.
I don't know. I don't think Track would think he would be a troll. I've hung out with Track in person. I watched him and his daughter go up, and they fucking gotten the guy who played the actor Hercules back in the day.
Right.
Or whatever. Well, they got right in his face because apparently he had said some stuff that was pro-Trump, pro-racist, but they didn't like yell at him. They had a conversation with him. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah, continue. Sorry.
So, I don't think Track considers himself to be a troll. I think he's very strong and opinionated about his morals and his thoughts, and he's not afraid to tell them.
No, and I actually respect that. But funny you brought up Trump. I was saying to him publicly, I'm like, dude, so you're gonna stop watching WWE over Trump? I didn't get it yet, right at that point. And you know, like I said, he was holding back. He didn't want to attack me because it was me, right? So he's like, Jimmy, I'm not gonna fucking attack you, man, but just understand, you know, why. And he explained it, whatever, right? I go, okay, I totally get it now. But still, the fact that you can't fucking watch what you love because of political ties, I don't like that, man, because that doesn't affect me. I couldn't give a fuck. You know, what my beliefs are my beliefs, but if WWE or AEW for that matter, and you know, have different beliefs to me, that's not going to stop me from watching something that I friggin' love, right? It shouldn't really affect you like that, but unfortunately now that's what it does. And I hate that we gotten political with this shit, but I felt like I guess we needed to get it off our chest.
Well, I mean, it's all relating back to Hulk Hogan. I mean, that's what
Right.
this is the topic of conversation people are having right now. There are people that are for Hulk Hogan's death. They're happy that he's gone and dead. They're happy Terry Bollea no longer is walking this planet. And then there's people who are not happy about that. So,
And
I mean, that's
No, you're
basically,
right.
and the issues that stem from them not liking Hulk Hogan are the fact that they believe Hulk Hogan was a racist. And if he was a racist, then that shatters the identity of Hulk Hogan to them. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And Zane, you're right. I'm not American, and that's what pisses me off even more. Because I get dragged into this bullshit, into the American political shit, right? But don't think it doesn't affect us either, dude. What you motherfuckers do absolutely fucking comes down on us too, man. So is even in terms of like, you know, all the black people here have the same sort of thought and mindset. Do you know what I'm saying? So don't think it doesn't affect us. But at the same time, here the way our culture is, we're able to give shit to each other. It might come across as racist to say Americans, right? But we're all equally, and I'm not saying that's how I am, but the culture here is equally racist to each other, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? And it usually people will look past it, but some people really mean it though. There's a skinhead movement going on here too right now, which is appalling. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It happens everywhere, man. But yeah, I'm not American, but don't think I don't understand the bullshit behind all this shit. You know what I mean? And I'm, you know, because I work with Americans and like with all you guys and I talk to all you guys, I automatically get pushed into it because just by association, you know what I mean? So, but it doesn't bother me. It's frustrating though. The way the mindset it is in America is very frustrating. I'm not going to lie, Matt.
yeah, I mean, Liz sums it up perfectly. You're also not part of historically marginalized people, so I respect people who stand on their beliefs. And that's another thing too, is people have their own beliefs. And if they believe that Hulk Hogan was not a positive impact on them, or that he was a positive impact until things came to light and that changed their perspective, then they have those rights to think that way as well. So, but yeah, I think we've talked about Hulk Hogan and race and politics enough for today, Jimmy.
Yeah, don't even give me Zane. Do your research. Just saying, I'm not going to get into that right now. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. It's a bit hard to talk wrestling after all that. I'm not going to lie, but
do you have any hot stories before we talk about SmackDown?
I'll just double check to be honest, it's been all Hogan, man, and politics basically involved behind it, like we were just discussing. As far as major news, I mean, what's a major news right now when you compare it to what's happened this week alone? There's not really anything to really talk about, dude. I mean, does anyone care about the G1 climax right now?
I don't know.
To be fair?
No.
Yeah, well, it sounds just the name G1 climax just sounds wrong.
It sounds like somebody's climax.
Somebody's climaxing, pal. But anyway, no, there's nothing, bro. Oh, I guess Chelsea Green getting heat. There's WWE wrestlers getting friggin' heat for, you know, thanking Hulk Hogan. That's another ridiculous thing. It's all fucked. Thank you, Prof. This is the last Hogan bit. Obviously, you turned on Collision. Jimmy, AEW didn't do a photo tribute of acknowledging his death, starting Collision. Well, fuck you, Tony. Straight up, I'm going to say it. Thank you for telling me that too. I appreciate that, Prof. Anyway, fuck that. See, that's just petty. To me, that's petty. Eat a dick, Tony. This is why they're going to lose even more viewers and more fans. I just hate their woke bullshit, bro. Like, anyway, forget them. Tune into the wreckage tomorrow morning for that shit. I'm sure me and the vet will have a lot to say about that. Anyway, there's no news really, Matt, man. I think we can just go straight into SmackDown. And we do go live from Cleveland, Ohio. Liz, actually, did you go to SmackDown by any chance? I assume you didn't, but since it was in your neck of the woods. Sorry?
Where was it?
In Cleveland, Ohio.
No, that's not my neck of the woods.
Not yours. I said Liz in the chat.
Oh.
Not you, man. I know where you're at. I would have obviously said it. But yeah, anyway, it was in Cleveland. And we start off with Logan Paul, funny enough, Cleveland's own Logan Paul, to a course of booze. I mean, is that surprising?
Yeah, this whole segment between him and Jelly Roll, as I was watching it, I was like, dude, what am I watching? I was like, I'm watching a Grammy-nominated singer have an argument with a YouTuber. I'm sorry. I still can't. I'm not taking Logan Paul seriously as a professional wrestler. I'm never going to be able to.
You know what cringed me, to be honest with you, Matt?
And I was thinking, hold on before you say anything. And I was thinking, to maybe a younger person, this would be entertaining. Like, oh my gosh, it's Logan Paul. And oh my gosh, it's Jelly Roll. And they're in the ring and they're talking and they're having an argument. But all I could think of was like, wow, this is where wrestling is at now. Where two people who have gotten bigger in their own audiences outside of wrestling have to be in a wrestling ring to try and draw a rating or audience for the professional wrestling show. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Jelly Roll, his music wise, so because I don't listen to that kind of music. I think it's country.
Well, he does hip hop too, actually.
Yeah, I don't listen to his music, so I
actually don't mind Jelly Roll's. Jelly Roll can sing, bro. Like, I appreciate good music regardless. I'm a hip hop guy, obviously, but I appreciate good music regardless. And he can sing, bro. That's.
I'm not saying he can't sing, but I'm just saying I'm not a fan of his music, so I don't relate to him as a character on television. Him coming into WWE, and I don't understand why Logan Paul continues to get passes after he's a piece of shit. So, but then again,
WWE, man,
they don't care.
Right. It's weird. It's really weird because that's what I mean. The contrast between companies, between WWE and AEW is so fucking weird, bro. One's the real woke one fucking seems like, doesn't matter what you've done in the past. We can, it's about what you do now and what you've done now. So it's weird though. You're right. You think it'd be the other way around considering WWE is the bigger company, right? But I like that too, though, because at least they're not passing judgment, dude. They judge you for the now, not for the past per se, unless they're pushed in the corner and have to sort of, like the Hogan thing initially when they took him out of the Hall of Fame and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is.
They gave him They gave him like 5 minutes of uninterrupted between these two before finally McIntyre or Randy Orton showed up.
No, but you know what cringed me the most about this segment? When Jelly Roll started singing
Randy Orton's theme song.
Yeah, oh my God, bro. When he's like, they talk to me. They talk to me. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, where'd that come from? But anyway, like he starts singing and then, that's the bat symbol for Randy Orton to come out after Drew McIntyre comes out. The one thing I understand about this, I know we can all shit on this, but you got to look at it from a marketing and publicity standpoint, guys. What WWE have done with that first segment makes total sense to get eyeballs on the product, man. So that's why I'm not going to totally shit on it for that reason. I didn't like it, but I totally understand where they're coming from in why they're doing it. Do you know
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying that from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense. It totally makes sense because the WWE's ratings continue to fall. So they're trying to do whatever they can to get people interested in the product. So they're bringing in outside forces to do so. I'm not saying that's not the right. I'm not saying from a business standpoint that that's wrong. I'm just saying I don't relate to any of these characters, so therefore I don't care.
Right. And I can totally understand that too. But from a business perspective, I can understand why they're doing it. I'm not mad at it for that reason. But I'm not really looking forward to that match though. Come SummerSlam.
No, it's going to be a fast forward match for me. Like I'm just gonna, or I'll pause it and I'll come back afterwards. Like I'm not really interested in this match. It doesn't have any implications on our outcomes that are going to further these guys' storylines. There's nothing up for grabs. There's no championship matches. You know, it's a throwaway tag team match that's being put together on SummerSlam because they want to have celebrities on the card.
Yeah, no, for sure. Josh also wants to know, do you think that Jelly Roll will sing Orton's theme song at SummerSlam? I hope not. But who knows? I mean, more than likely, who the fuck knows? Darkside Caster says it's ironic that a guy who back in 97, who held up the sign, who booked this shit, is now the guy who is booking this shit. The irony. The irony. That one's for you there, Darkside. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that, man. Lately, he's been pretty off with his booking, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we get a few shoves. Didn't Jelly Roll shoulder block Logan Paul, basically?
Yeah.
Which is not believable to me because we know how good Logan Paul is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jelly Roll looks, can wrestle like really good at this point. I will say, though, I don't know if it's just me, Matt, but did it look like he put on weight within a week?
Jelly Roll?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought to me, it's looked like he's lost weight.
He did lose weight. He absolutely lost a lot of weight, but for some reason he came across as kind of chunkier. Like,
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention, I guess. I just remember him being bigger, and now he looks skinnier.
He has lost a dramatic amount of weight, though. That's true.
That's good for his health.
Fat fuck.
Oh, yeah.
No, definitely. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And good on him, because it would have been hard, man. Liz says, no, he's losing weight. I know that, Liz. I mean, just for this week, I felt like he gained a little bit again. But again, it's nothing. It's no big deal. But anyway, that was the first segment. Cool, I guess.
Yeah, that was what we opened up with, too. That was another thing. It was like, this is the opening for your SmackDown.
Yep. Yeah, other than a Hogan tribute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Weird. Josh says, and I thought Alanis Morris said, ironic, don't you think? Anyway. But next we go to the first match of the evening. It is Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez, representing the Judgment Day, of course. To my surprise, Roxanne Perez does win via pinfall with an O'Connor roll and a hand on the ropes for leverage. And for the 1, 2, 3, where did Matt go? You did a Houdini on me. I didn't see you walk off, dude, as I was reading my notes. But anyway, I was just saying that Roxanne Perez gets one over Alexa Bliss. Were you surprised by that?
No, because I mean, I expect the heel to get the victory on the television show before the pay-per-view. Right?
Yeah.
The next week is the go-home show, and then the weekend is SummerSlam, right?
Yep, it's coming up next week, a week from Saturday.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't a shock to me that Roxanne won this match.
Yeah, because they're going to lose anyway.
I'm expecting them to lose the titles to Charlotte and Alexa Bliss.
And Josh, yeah, man, she got a remix version of her song, and she did get a new theme song. Obviously, it's all right. It's better, I guess, sort of. Yeah, I think. I mean, it's a feel-good story, right? Dark Side. I mean, them winning the championships, Charlotte gets some sort of and somewhat. Excuse me, hiccups. Some sort of redemption after getting all booed out of the building recently. But I think that's the right move for Charlotte. As a matter of fact, being in this tag team, because you know what, Matt, I feel like it's gotten away from the negativity towards Charlotte, don't you think?
I mean, they've definitely done a good job of pairing her with a baby face, and thus the crowd seems to be booing her less. So if that was her intention, they definitely have done a good job in that.
Absolutely. And I'll take my hat off to him for doing that, because that was tricky, man. The fact that the fans now are sort of back on Charlotte's side again, it's a master stroke move, dude. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, the one thing to take away from this match was Alexa Bliss getting busted open.
Yeah, her nose. Was it her nose that seemed broken?
I thought it was her nose. I thought it was her mouth. Like maybe it was a tooth or something.
Either way, like you said, she got busted open face-wise. Do you think Roxanne is a little green still, in your opinion?
I mean, the match was what it was. You know, a lot of these people seem green to me. So, like, I don't want to pinpoint it all on her. A lot of these people get called up from the main roster, and I don't think they're ready to get called up to. But I digress there. You know, it was a decent match. It wasn't bad. I watched it from beginning to end. I didn't fast forward it, so it wasn't bad. Wasn't long either.
Well, that's a good thing then, right?
Yeah, it kept my attention.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. Artists, by the way, I know you're watching Collision and you're listening to us at the same time. Hopefully we're more interesting than Collision. I've got to watch it right after we do this show, unfortunately for me, obviously for the wreckage. Anyway, post-match, Bliss has a bloody nose and Flair is tending to her wounds. But next we see Jade Cargill is interviewed backstage and said she's going to show everyone she's a natural-born champion. Chelsea Green then rolls up with her secret Hervis and says she got screwed out of the Queen of the Ring and that Jade is stupid. Slow, maybe. Useless, yeah. She thinks there's a cutter word for it, but Jade is right behind her and decks her with a forearm as Cargill drags her to Gorilla and bounces her face off a mirrored wall, and then she puts her in a fireman's carry, and as Jade marches to the stage and drops her before picking her back up and throwing her down the ramp, and she throws her in the ring, and we got a match suddenly. It is Chelsea versus Jade, and let's be real, this was a friggin' squash. Jade wins via pinfall with the Jaded for the 1, 2, 3. What do you think of this segment, Matt?
I thought the segment was good. I liked the fact that it started in the back and then it blended through into the backstage area and then right into the ring, and they had a match, unannounced. So I liked that. I liked that impromptu style of a match, and it didn't have to be like a general manager coming out. This is a tag team match. Holla, holla. You know what I mean? There wasn't any of that.
Holla, holla.
Holla, holla, holla. There wasn't any like impromptu general manager. I'm going to make a match. It just naturally happened, which I think, if you're getting into a fight with somebody inside WWE's universe, then that should probably take place more, where you just go to the ring and settle it. And that's what they did. But you're right. This was a get over match for Jade Cargill, and she did that. And I'm a big fan of Jade Cargill as well. So I enjoyed the match. I think Jade Cargill still has some stuff to work on. But she's also a big, I don't want to say a big, she's a tall, large woman. So she doesn't necessarily need to do all the fanciest things in the ring. She just needs to look powerful and menacing. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Spot on, man. She doesn't need to do any fancy shit. She's a powerhouse in the women's division. Less is more in this case for Jade, in my opinion. So I totally agree with you. But I like what Artist said. Jade said, "This is what you get for that X post," and he's referring to Chelsea Green.
About Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is bad in a way, but still, no, but obviously he's joking because that's not the case. But, shit, you never know with WWE, right? They probably fucking put it that way. Anyway, Joseph wants to know, when will WWE put Trick Williams on SmackDown? He's only NXT guy who is over. Yeah, look, man, I feel like he's been in NXT for way too long. I agree with you. Problem is, where do you put him at this point on the main roster? He's got to wait his turn, unfortunately, man. And I don't see an open slot for him just yet. But I agree with you, though. He's been there for way too long. Way too long. Darkside Cuss says, I agree. Jay should not be in 10-minute long matches. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Book it like she's Goldberg, man. You know what I mean? And
that's how she was booked in AEW.
Right.
Her first, 50 matches she won undefeated?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's how she should be booked. Let Trick carry TNA, you think, Zane? Well, also, Artist says Trick is carrying TNA right now. And you know what he is, man, in some ways. Is that a good thing for TNA? I don't know. Until don't say that. We don't want to see Penta back in TNA, do we, artist? I mean, shit. I mean, I don't know if I want to see that again, but who knows? Maybe we'll get that. Anyway, that was that match, though. Post-match, the Secret Hervers do jump Jade and beat her down until, I mean, I don't want to call her racist, but, you know, Jade should have put the beat down on Tiffany for certain things she's done in the past. But nevertheless, she comes to make the save anyway. They send Alba Fire and Piper Niven both packing, and Cargill has an opportunity to pick Tiffany's WWE Women's Championship up and put it on one shoulder. As Stratton asks for it back, Jade then smiles and offers it back, but keeps a grip on it for a brief tug of war, Matt. You're going to love the tug of wars in WWE.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I love it.
Oh, yeah, look at it. The yawn as well. He loves it, all right?
I love it.
He loves it a lot. Oh, man. See, is SmackDown really boring you already that much?
No, it's fine.
I know, man. You work hard, bro. You got work too tomorrow as well, you poor dude. But anyway, that was that. When we do come back from commercials, though, we obviously see more tributes about Hulk Hogan, but we get the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, making his entrance and gets on the mic. He begins by eulogizing Hulk Hogan and says emotions and feelings about it are complicated. Here we go. But his contributions to WWE and entertainment as a whole are staggering and indisputable.
Right.
So as someone who gets to stand here and say he's a WWE superstar, he was the original, and he wants to take a moment to say thank you, Hulk Hogan. Then he goes on to say, he says SummerSlam isn't about virtue or victory. It's about violence. And last week, John Cena saw that, and he'll get plenty more at MetLife Stadium. But here's the tricky thing. He doesn't want to wrestle this John Cena. He doesn't want to fight a guy who didn't want this match in the first place, who's counting the days until he's at the door. No, he wants to fight the real John Cena at SummerSlam. And if he's going to stand here and own it, he needs to know he can go through the very best. And that title means the very best. So if this is his last SummerSlam, he wants Cena coming like it's his first. He wants him wearing that title right, running to the ring, all the hustle and loyalty, and they can beat the respected crap out of each other. He needs to know that this is a story that we've all been part of. It's not just fantasy. It's all about legacy, and that it means something, that it's real. And John is the only one who has the answer to that question, and he'll see him next week. What do you think of this promo by Cody?
That was kind of a waste of time, I thought.
I agree. That's what
I mean, it was like, what, 5-6 minutes? That's all he came out for. It was just to get Cody Rhodes onto the show.
Yeah,
you know, and then
I feel like he's so insincere too, bro.
Yeah. You know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely feels a little insincere at times. You know, him having to come out and address the Hulk Hogan situation after he publicly stated that Hulk Hogan would never be in AEW. So I mean, it's another case of a wrestler putting their foot in their mouth, tweet, apologize, dive, repeat.
Yeah.
So like, to hear him say it was complicated, I agree. It is complicated, as we just talked about for the first hour. But yeah, 4 or 5 minute promo that really meant nothing. You know, no John Cena on the show tonight. They're basically filling time now until SummerSlam.
I agree, and it's a piss poor job in my opinion too, man. This should be a lot better. And I get it, the Hogan circumstance, you know, maybe threw a few plans off a little bit, but then again, you would have thought they would have dedicated a whole show to Hogan, but they didn't, which is interesting. And like Darkseid said, I love you, I respect you.
You're right. I'm surprised we didn't get more like talking head figures throughout the night where they were talking about Hulk Hogan and all of his accomplishments or something like that. I mean, they played vignettes and stuff like that, but we really didn't get a lot of people talking about him, like backstage in an interview for him.
Yeah, I know. It's very weird considering who he is, you know, in the landscape of pro wrestling. I also heard, funny enough, I'm sorry to go back, but I just want to point this out, that R-Truth and Carmella Hayes didn't want to come out to honor him. That's all rumor. I don't know how true that is, but apparently
was R-Truth even on the show?
Not that I saw.
Has R-Truth been relevant since he got fired and brought back?
Honestly, no. And I hate to say that, man. I hate to say that, but honestly, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really doing anything with him.
Right. It's weird, dude. Hey, Brian Blair was there, Zane, as a matter of fact, in the front row, you know. Good old Brian Blair from the Killer Bees. Do you remember that tag team, Matt, back in the day?
Yeah.
And jumping Jim Brunzell.
Yeah.
The friggin' Killer Bees. And that's a throwback right there. But he was there. Brian Blair was actually close friends with Hogan also. So, yeah. Anyway, time to move on from that because next, after we see Cody, we see Jacob Fatu cutting a promo backstage, that is. He says he loves Solo, but he tried to get him sent to jail when he told his family and everybody he's never going back. Adam Pearce says they're getting locked in a cage, and he doesn't mind it because at the end of the day, he's going to dog walk his ass. Yeah, I mean. I love that, though.
Prof says breaking news: Tony Schiavone acknowledges Hogan on Collision. So there you go. They acknowledge him.
Wow.
In some
Yeah,
way.
of course, Schiavone did because he copped a lot of backlash for saying that he wasn't friends with him, just an acquaintance on Twitter. So I find that interesting that he actually, out of all people, Schiavone came out and said it. But still, that's Tony Schiavone. I wanted to see a different Tony acknowledge it, but good. That's a start, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to see Collision and where that goes. Thank you for keeping me up to date, though, and keeping us up to date. Prof, tell me more if they say anything more, please.
I'm surprised. You know, I think it would have been more meaningful if not necessarily AEW had done something, but TNT had done some sort of like commercial package.
Especially what he's done for that network,
Yeah,
right? When you
exactly.
really think about it. Absolutely correct, bro. 100%.
But I
It's
mean,
not just
as artist
AEW,
returns,
right.
Schiavone is the right person to use too, as far as talking about Hulk Hogan, obviously being the guy that was one of the commentators during Hulk Hogan's period of NWO and WCW. So,
You know what's funny? Is Schiavone the cleaner of AEW in some ways?
like
Matt?
he cleans up all the mess, is what you're saying?
I feel like he's the PR guy that tries to clean up, you know, any spills that AEW is having.
Maybe.
Interesting. Zane thinks that Jacob Fatu needs to be handled. He'll walk you like a dog, Zane. Yeah,
So,
you know what I mean?
Jacob Fatu says that he's going to be in a cage match. He's excited, and
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
wait, there's more because the
There's
Miz
more.
rolls up to be mad about Fatu putting him on the shelf 6 weeks ago, and he was reminded that he's gone toe-to-toe with legends and monsters, and he's not the victim or the target. He's the main character, and he went to Nick Aldis and got them a match tonight as Jacob turns to face him, and the A-lister hauls off and slaps him clean across the face. Fatu tells him to come on with it, and then we go to commercial, and obviously we come back to that very match between Fatu and The Miz. But of course, again, I don't want to say it was a total squash match, but it's pretty one-sided. Fatu does win via pinfall with a pop-up Samoan drop. Is Miz a heel again? What's going on? Who's the heel here?
yeah, I mean, you can't really be a heel in your own hometown.
That's true. So does that make Fatu the heel here, man?
No,
Even though they're still
there
cheering
just
him?
wasn't any heels. It was just two babies essentially fighting. It was a pissed off guy who was taken out by Fatu. And then when Fatu was a heel at the time, and now you've got Fatu being the tweener face, baby face, if you will, because people want to see Jacob Fatu they want to cheer for him, right?
Well, I mean, how can you not? But see, that's the problem. I know we always, complain about heels and faces, but are we moving on from that, do you think, Matt?
I don't know. I mean,
Good
sometimes
answer,
it feels like that
actually.
way.
Right, because I don't even know either.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, because 1 minute they seem to be going that route, then the next minute they go back to a clear heel and clear babe. I don't know, man. They're a bit of a mess in terms of booking and what's going on in WWE right now, but it is what it is. Post-match, though, the MFTs attack Fatu and put boots to him, but then we see Big Jim Uso making the save, chair in hand. He clears most of them, but Talatanga, I said Talatanga because he's tall. That's what I hate about WWE. But anyway, shrugs him off and gives his pals a chance to recover, but then in turn giving Jacob Fatu a chance to get his win back. And he picks up a chair and horse collars Sikoa's neck and Tala takes his head off with a lariat as Tonga follows it up with a choke slam on the Samoan werewolf, and the rest of the stable joins or rejoins them to watch Solo lay Fatu out with a Samoan spike. And then we see the Street Profits and B-Fab interview backstage. Anything to say about this post-match shenanigans between bloodlines?
I mean, as I was watching it, I was thinking, does the WWE look at Tala Tonga as their next Roman Reigns, potentially?
God, I hope not.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's a big man.
He looks good. I'll give you that.
He looks good in the ring.
He looks really good.
You know what I'm saying? They're protecting him well enough, but he looks good in the ring. But do they look at him like they looked at Roman Reigns and go, man, this is our next big Samoan or our next big guy that we can turn into something?
That is an interesting question and a great question, actually, Matt. I'm not sure if they think that far ahead, because the thing is, he needs personality. You know what I mean? Look at Roman for the most part. When he had like a corny personality, he was never getting over. You know what I mean? Once he turned that heel, the tribal chief, and came into his own.
Well, he also had Paul Heyman too. So
and Heyman helped out with that. Actually, more than helped. Maybe if you pair him with Heyman and he can be the total, spokesperson for him, maybe it could work. But like the artist says, he lacks charisma, man. And that's what worries me. Because I've followed his career through New Japan and all that. He was nothing over there. I've never heard him talk and have any sort of personality. Right now he looks good. You know what I mean? But I need to see more. I need to see some personality. And then we can judge him after that, because he really needs that if they're going to push him as the next Roman Reigns. That's for sure.
I mean, as far as after the match, I mean, it was kind of like par for the course for this. Like, I understood what was going to happen. You know, it's a 4-on-2 type situation. So, I mean, unless Big Jim can get more people to help him and Fatu, like, this is what's going to happen every week with the MFT.
Yeah. True. Yes, wants to know, you like Jacob Fatu being WWE champ soon, Jimmy T? I would love to see that, but not right now. Give it a couple of years. Let him build towards it. You know what I mean? He's already received a lot in quick time. Let's be honest, Joseph. So, I'm sure in time he could possibly become WWE champion. But right now, there's no way they will actually pull the trigger on him being champion just yet. I just don't see it. In the future, hopefully. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Matt?
What?
About Jacob Fatu possibly being WWE champion?
Maybe.
In the future.
Maybe it could happen. As of right now, I don't know if he's ready.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he's ready just yet either. But he's great. Let's not twist things. But anyway, back to SmackDown. We see the Street Profits and B-Fab. B-Fab says the Wyatts are a different kind of enemy and need to be dealt with in a specific way. And Montez Ford complains about not even being in the qualifying match. Angelo Dawkins then says it doesn't matter because they have next no matter what. And then we see DIY roll up to tell them to step aside so they can fix this mess that the Profits made. They continue to bicker, and then we see Candice LeRae plays Peacemaker and says they have a plan and the Profits just need to stay out of the way. And then we go to another break. This is corny, bro.
Not only was it corny, it's just like you've got Montez Ford and who was the other guy?
Dawkins.
And Dawkins. They look like tall WWE superstars. And then comes Gargano and the other guy, Ciampa, and they look like little kids coming next to them.
Right. It's sad, dude. I hate how they do that to the Profits, man. It's not real. It's unrealistic, man. Realistically, the Profits would eat them alive, bro.
Right.
But
they're having, a discourse between them.
Josh wants to know who gets the world title first, Braun or Jake. It's
probably Braun,
bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no if or but about that. It's definitely Braun. Easily. You know what I'm saying? Zane says, don't disrespect Dawkins that way. I didn't disrespect him, motherfucker. Anyway. So there was that. But again, we got segments galore. This felt very segment sort of esque of a show. We see Zelina Vega chases Julia down backstage, but Kiana James interrupts and introduces herself as Julia's official representation, and Vega should talk to her if she wants to talk to Julia. Zelina ignores her, and James tells her she went to Nick Aldis and she has her title rematch next week. And after that, she can get out of Julia's hair forever. And then they have a little back and forth, and that's about it. Is this the right thing to have Kiana James as the spokesperson to Julia? Because the thing is,
I don't care.
Huh?
I don't care. Like everyone's so hyped on Gulia, whatever her name is.
Gulia.
I don't care. Did she have vignettes made for her when she debuted? Or did she just get called up from NXT?
She kind of did just get called up from NXT. But she did have a reputation.
What's her character?
I mean, she's Japanese, bro. Well,
I have what? Why do I need to care about these characters or wrestlers if they're not going to give me something to care about?
You're gonna get heat with Jago now for saying that.
I don't care. I'm just saying, like, if you're not going to have character development or give me characters, and why do I care? I'm watching a TV show. You know what I mean? I
like Julia personally. I know what you're saying when you said, what's her character? Even I was like, she's just a kick-ass fucking Japanese chick, bro. I mean, when you think about it, what's Io Sky's character?
We are in control. Well, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, she doesn't really have a character either. She's a girl who barely can speak English.
Right, but Julia can actually speak a lot better English than any of the Japanese women.
Well, then let her speak. I don't know. Instead of having a spokesperson, they got it all half-assed backwards. If she can talk, then why does she need a manager?
I know. That's why I was going to say that. That's weird. You know, send it to. But they got history though in NXT, obviously.
I guess. Cool. I don't watch NXT, and I don't. So if I don't watch that show, why do I care? You see what I'm saying? If I don't watch NXT and you don't explain this to me as a viewer, they have to expect that there's going to be new people tuning in every week for the first time, or maybe coming back and haven't watched wrestling, and they don't do that. They don't explain things. They don't give you backstories. There's no vignettes about this person. I have no idea who Julia is. I'm sorry. And they haven't given me a reason to care.
I totally can respect what you're saying, because you're right. You know what I mean? I knew who Julia was thanks to Jago pre-WWE. He used to like talk about her a lot. He'd be like, I remember he said it to me and Vet. Check this girl out, man. She's the next big thing. And he was right. She was. But in saying that, you saying what you just said, you're actually right. I can't.
T and Coupon are exactly what I'm saying. It's their job to tell me about the wrestlers. And if they're not going to tell me about them, then why do I care?
Yeah, see, this is WWE. I don't know if WWE assume that their fan base, watch the ones that watch SmackDown.
They do. They assume that everybody's watching that if you're watching SmackDown and Raw, you must be watching NXT, and you must be watching LFG, and you must be watching Evolve. And it's like, dude, I don't have that much time in a week to watch wrestling. I got other shit to take care of. So you need to talk to me like I'm an idiot every time I watch your show and explain things to me, because I'm not going to remember everything with all the content you put out. Otherwise, I'm just going to go back to watching the highlights, and the highlights are just going to be about your main stars anyway.
I can't argue that with you, bro. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's no arguing that. And that's what's weird. Why are they gotten so lazy that we can't even do vignettes anymore?
I don't host a podcast about an old TV show. I host a podcast about a current TV show that actually makes fun of everybody and everything and continues to talk about relevancy.
Don't let him get to you, bro. Don't worry.
No, I'm just saying.
This is his job, by the way.
No, I'm just saying. If you think South Park is old and is not relevant, ask Donald Trump this week about it. So I mean,
it's not irrelevant, man. It actually gets a lot of people were praising the last week's episode actually online, saying that it was one of the best episodes ever created by the South Park team. Now I didn't watch it, but is that true?
I mean, I don't know if I could say the best ever. That's a hard thing to say because they've done over 300 episodes. So I don't know. I can't. That's hard for me to say that's the best episode. It's not my favorite episode of all time. It was a good episode. Anyway, we're getting off track here.
I just want to know since it was brought up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good episode. Go watch it. If you have a sense of humor and you're not deranged by one side or the other by politics, go watch it and have a good laugh. It's funny. Funny episode.
That's impossible.
I know it's impossible for some people to do.
That's what I hate about fucking the world today. But anyway, fuck the politics. We already spoke about that because we're at the main event now. Actually, Matt, it's main event time, and talk about a match I really didn't care about, but at least they did show us a package about who Rey Fenix and Andrade El Idolo actually are. Not that we didn't know already, because apparently in this vignette, you know what they're saying? I know him and I know him. We know each other. That's basically what they were saying, essentially.
I liked this package. I liked
Yeah,
this.
but see, it was catered to the Marktards again, though, Matt, because they're talking about their previous gimmicks that no one really knows. Like, for example, El Idolo was La Sombra.
Yeah, no, I get it, what you're saying, but at least they gave them a video package to introduce them as a tag team, so that way I could have some understanding as far as why these two are tag teaming together.
You're right.
You know, because you think to yourself, why isn't Phoenix tagging with Penta? Right, they're brothers. They got them, but instead they've got them separated. So now they've at least given me a reason to know. Oh, okay. Well, this is why Phoenix and Idolo are together. While Andrade are together, because they feel like they're both money.
And they know each other.
What?
And they know each other.
And they know each other. At least they gave them a vignette or a package, so that way I could understand going into the main event who these guys were and what they stood for.
Hey,
so I was on board with this. I liked it.
I agree with Zane here because Penta's over. Yeah, Penta's doing his own thing. I don't think even he would want.
Is he over? Is he over? Is he though? I mean,
to the young fan base,
since they've brought him into WWE, what have they really done with him?
Yeah, they could use him better, but he's in a prominent spot generally, bro. Speaking, he's upper mid card.
I guess.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to shit on his run just yet. You know what I mean? But yeah, if they continue going where they're going in about a year's time, then definitely I'll start shitting on it. But anyway, we do have the match between Andrade El Idolo and Rey Fenix versus the Wyatt Six in Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy for your WWE Tag Team Championships. And I assumed, I don't know what was going on in this match. This match was a fucking mess. All right. It was all over the place. I don't know. I lost track of this match, and I didn't even know who officially won. I'm assuming that Andrade and Phoenix win by disqualification, I think.
I don't know, dude. It was a
Neither
cluster.
That's what I'm saying.
It turned into a cluster at the end with every tag team coming out in the division and fighting each other. And to me, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with all of the tag teams vying for the title. Like, the title should be important enough for they all should be. That division should be strong enough to where everybody wants that title shot, because they're not doing that on Raw. Right? On Raw, there is no tag team division, really.
What tag team division? What are you talking about?
The New Day, the Viking Raiders, and whoever the champs are right now, the Judgment Day. That's all it is. They're all playing hot potato between those three teams.
Hot potato, hot potato. That sounds familiar. Isn't that a friggin' Wiggles song?
Sure. I don't know. They're from Australia, right?
Yeah, I know. So. But I'm laughing because the hot potato fucking. Anywho, yeah, look, the tag team division on both ends really suck right now. At least they're trying somewhat to make an effort on SmackDown. The only issue, though, with SmackDown's tag division, everyone's a mini-me, except, I guess, Andrade and Rey Fenix are above all the other mini-me's. But then you got Ford and Dawkins that absolutely tower everyone else and really should be the dominant team in this division and still should be champs, in my opinion. But for whatever reason, they hotshot those bouts too much also in terms of SmackDown. They're just way too much.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Rowan was he looked strong. He was taking everybody out.
Well, he's like nearly 7 feet tall. He should take
exactly.
everyone out.
Yeah, I mean, so he looked strong. I mean, taking everybody out. You know, I thought this was a weird way to end SmackDown, though, with this.
No, definitely. It was a dusty finish.
You know, not just the cluster, but then Nick Aldis coming out and announcing it's a TLC match. And then that's how they went off the air with this tag team division. So, I mean, that just tells you how much the show, they really, had nothing tonight. They leaned on the fact that people were going to tune in because Hulk Hogan passed.
You're right.
But then
True,
they
man.
really didn't do, as far as viewership is concerned, they didn't thread a storyline throughout the night. Everything was just inserted. You know, there was no main premise or plot throughout the show from beginning to end. You know, we didn't see the tag team. We didn't see, if we had, that vignette package came way too late in the show. That should have been one of the earlier things of the night. You know, we should have seen
True.
more tag team stuff. We only saw one backstage segment. Should have saw
I
more
agree.
if they're going to try and thread how important this tag team division is.
You know what's
But-
silly to me? If they were going to be so unorganized with their show, then you should have just kept it as a Hogan special.
Unorganized is the proper term. Yeah, they should have kept it a Hogan special for sure. Should have had
So that way
backstage
they take a week
interviews,
off.
vignettes. Yeah, exactly.
And
But they
build
didn't
on the
do
shit.
that. It was just an unorganized clusterfuck of a show.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, you know, I tuned in 90 because, you know, I got to do this show, but also the fact that I was curious, obviously because of Hogan, right, and shit. But this show, yeah, SmackDown has been an absolute fucking. I don't know what's going on. Ever since they've gone 2 hours, I feel like it's gone worse, dude. 2 hours is starting to feel like 4 hours anyway on the Blue brand.
I don't know. You watch this show more than I do. As I'm watching the show, I was like, I'm watching this show for Jimmy. I'm watching this show for Jimmy.
You must
I'm
have been
watching this
cursing
show
me
for
out.
Jimmy.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
Watch
You didn't
this
even
show
do it
for
on the
Jimmy.
time. I love you, Matt, for that, man. I appreciate you for doing that. I know it's putting you through hell, but fuck. You know what
I mean, it
Wait
wasn't
till
putting me
now.
through hell. I just kept looking at the clock, wondering when the show was going to end. That's all. Like, is this
the
over?
show that doesn't end.
I'm like, is this show over yet? It's like, I'm like at 30, 40 minutes into the show. And I'm like, I still got another 50 minutes.
God damn it, pal. I know, it was a shit show, bro. It was, considering we're only a week away from freaking SummerSlam, it was very piss poor, dude. Like, should have done a lot better, but it is what it is. If you had to give this a rating of sorts, what could you possibly give this?
I don't
fucking show?
know, a 2.5 out of 5.
Jeez, that's being generous, actually.
You know, it was
That's
mid.
being very generous. It was very mid. But speaking of mid, in saying that, Matt, you know what? I think it's time we take it home, man, at a good hour and 30 minutes of the Smack Attacky. So in saying that, Matt, tell them what you're doing, what you're up to, and where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, of course, you can check out my podcast at South Park Pod on YouTube. We got a brand new top 9 takeaway up there from the latest episode, season 27, episode 1 premiere, Sermon on the Mount, where South Park creators take shot at Donald Trump. So it is not for the lighthearted. If you cannot take a joke, I would not watch South Park or that episode. But if you can take a joke, and you like the fact that South Park makes fun of everything and everyone, and they've been doing it now for decades, I encourage you to check out our top 9 takeaway. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. I'm also on Blue Sky, MatthewSchaffer.bluesky.net. If you want to hit me up there.
Nice. Very nice indeed. And just quietly, if I had to rate this show, I'd probably give it a 1 out of freaking
Wow.
5 stars.
There you
That's
go.
how I just didn't care because everything was done wrong. Everything was done backwards except for, like you pointed out, with El Idolo and Ray Phoenix. And the Hogan tribute was just not good enough, in my opinion, considering what he'd done for that friggin' company. But
Yeah, it is interesting that he didn't get a whole show dedicated to him. You know what I mean? Like if you think back as far as like an Eddie Guerrero, when he passed away, the whole show was dedicated to Eddie Guerrero. But when Hogan passed away, we didn't get the same style of show where we expected more interviews and vignettes, people backstage talking about him, what he's done. They didn't interview wrestlers that were on the current roster. They didn't interview the legends that were there, like Sergeant Slaughter,
True.
Jimmy Hart, B. Brian Blair.
yep.
They basically
sad.
just gave you a 10-bell salute and then aired 3 or 4 packages throughout the night about Hulk Hogan.
God, I can't believe that, man. It's so sad and weird at the same time. Of course you gave it a 5, Zane. Of course you did. For sure. No worries. 5. I'll give you a 5 slaps across the friggin' head. That's what that is. But anyway, well, if you want to follow me, you can at the PWC Network. Also, you can also DJ Massifix, but you know my deal with that. I'm not going to explain it again. But PWC Network is where I can interact. Also, like and subscribe right here at Hameen Media Group's YouTube channel. Please keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep telling everybody that Hameen's the word, not bird. HMG's the word. And because our numbers are up, man. We've got more subscribers, and we appreciate that.
We do appreciate that.
We absolutely do appreciate it. So please keep doing what you guys are doing. It's nothing but love from our end, and we appreciate it all the way across the board. Also, of course, Channel Attitude. You can pay $5, or you don't have to because we are for free right here. But between now and the end of the year, obviously, Channel Attitude will still be around. But
keep paying $5.
Keep paying $5. If you want to support us, keep paying $5, no doubt.
I mean, by the end of the year, we'll be on Patreon, so you're going to have to pay $5 if you want to catch the shows.
Absolutely.
After, when they're not live.
That will be coming back. Right now, we are leaving the shows up for free on YouTube, but that's not going to be forever. So we appreciate you checking us out, and hopefully when we do move to the Patreon, you'll be a subscriber.
Absolutely. So in saying that, also check out The Wreckage with me and the vet, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we talk all things AEW. So look out for that. I'm sure it'll be a barn burner. Also check out I Like a Raw, where it's me and Big Ray Hernandez, where we talk all things Monday Night Raw, your Raw wrestling review show. Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't forget to check that out. Of course, also check out the Next Level Wrestling Review Show with Big Ray and, of course, the vet. Once again, every Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss out on that. And, of course, the Smack Attack. Next week, we should be back at our normal time on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, hopefully. So we'll see about that next week. And, of course, check out the Monday Locker Room with RBV and Bin Hameen every Mondays or Tuesdays. I mean, is it on Tuesdays generally at this point, Matt?
It's on Mondays and Monday afternoons. Right there. It tells you.
Because sometimes I see it also on a Tuesday, but I don't know.
You can also
man.
check
Maybe
out this week's edition of the Friday Locker Room. Rick Vickery filled in for me. It was pretty good. I should be back on the Friday Locker Room this Thursday morning. Check us out.
A graphic for that, damn it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's not your fault. it's Ray's fault. Nah. Also, check out Limpin' and Easy with our very own Timmy Baltimore. I'm not sure who his guest is this week, but his last guest was something else, dude, because it was Mickey James.
All
Go
right.
check that out. And, of course, Stevie Richards, the Stevie Richards Show, where his latest episode's all about the Hulkster. And, obviously, you know, talking about his death and whatnot. So check that out. And I think that's a wrap in saying that. I am Jimmy T. He is MSG. And you've been listening and watching the Smack Attack live right here on Hameen Media Group's YouTube channel. And, of course, on channelattitude.com after the fact. And until next time, we're out. Peace.
Oh, that's absolutely
Oh, man, that is sensational. That is fabulous. Everybody has to like that one.
Jesse, get your face out of the plumbing.
They're almost giving up. Come on, Jesse.
Oh, I got through it.
Yeah, well, you may not get through this next cut with considering whom is going to tackle this one.
I agree.
I feel bad.